This is Salamba Sirsasana, the basic supported headstand pose. Bringing the arms shoulder width apart and stretching the legs out, interlacing the fingers and lowering the crown of the head to the floor so that the cup formed by the hands supports the back of the head. Walking the feet in towards the body, just coming up onto the tiptoes until the feet automatically lift up off the floor by action of the hips. Care should be taken not to swing the legs upwards, but to allow them to lift automatically because the hips are coming over the shoulders. I shall now read from BKS Iyengar's Light on Yoga, and the video shall be sped up to match the length of my reading. Hints on Sirsasana. In Sirsasana, the balance alone is not important. One has to watch from moment to moment and find out the subtle adjustments. When we stand on our feet, we need no extra effort, strength, or attention, for the position is natural. Yet the correct method of standing affects our bearing and carriage. In Sirsasana, the correct position should be mastered, as a faulty posture in this asana will lead to pains in the head, neck, and back. The whole weight of the body should be borne on the head alone and not on the forearms and hands. The forearms and hands are to be used only for support to check any loss of balance. In a good pose, you feel a circle about the size of an Indian rupee of the head in contact with the blanket on the floor. The back of the head, the trunk, the back of the thighs, and the heels should be in a line perpendicular to the floor and not inclined to one side. The throat, chin, and breastbone should be in one line, otherwise the head will tilt to one side or move forward. As regards the interlocked hands behind the head, the palms should not be stuck into the head. The upper and lower sides of the palms should be in a line, otherwise the crown of the head will not rest on the floor correctly. The elbows and the shoulders should be in a line, and the elbows should not be widened. The shoulders should be kept as high above the floor as possible by moving them up and stretching them sideways. In order to learn the correct shoulder stretch, release the interlocked fingers and remove the hands from behind the head and widen the wrists from the forearms, keeping the elbows stationary. Place the wrists on the floor with the palms facing up. Touch the shoulders with the fingers, keeping the wrists on the floor, and maintain the balance. This will not only improve the balance but also prepare you for other Sirsasana poses. As to the position of the trunk, the dorsal region should be pushed forward as well as up. The lumbar, waist, and pelvic regions should not be pushed forward, while the trunk from the shoulders to the pelvis should be kept perpendicular. If the pelvic area juts forward, it means that you are bearing the weight of the body not on the head alone, but also on the elbows, for you have not stretched the dorsal region, the chest, correctly. When viewed from the side, the body from the neck to the heels should appear straight. As far as possible, try and join the thighs, knees, ankles, and toes. Stretch the legs fully, especially the back of the knees and thighs. If the legs swing back, tighten the knees and the lower median portion of the abdomen above the pubes. This will keep the legs perpendicular. Keep the toes pointing up. If the legs swing forward, stretch the dorsal region and push the pelvic area slightly back until it is in line with the shoulders. The body will then feel light and the pose will be exhilarating. While going up or holding the headstand, the eyes should never become bloodshot. If they do, the pose is faulty. The time limit for Sirsasana depends on individual capacity and on the time at one's disposal. One can hold it comfortably from 10 to 15 minutes. A beginner can do it for 2 and go up to 5 minutes. It is always difficult for a beginner to balance for 1 minute, but once he succeeds, he can be sure that from then on, he will be able to master Sirsasana soon. While going up or coming down, move both legs together inch by inch. All the movements should be done with exhalation. Inhale while waiting in a position. The effect of going down and coming up straight without bending the legs at the knees is that a harmonious, slow movement is gained, and the flow of blood to the head is controlled. The face does not flush from jerky and fast movements, as the flow of blood to the waist and the legs is also controlled. Then there is no danger of losing balance from giddiness or numbness of the feet when one stands up immediately after the head balance. In course of time, the whole movement of going up, staying, and coming down should become as effortless as possible. In a perfect Sirsasana, your body feels completely stretched, and at the same time you experience a feeling of complete relaxation. After one has learned to balance in Sirsasana, it is preferable to perform Sirsasana first before practicing any other asana. This is because one cannot balance or hold the headstand if the body is exhausted by doing other poses, or if the breathing becomes fast and shaky. Once the body is tired or the breathing is not free and easy, the blood will shake and it will be difficult to maintain the balance. It is always better to do Sirsasana first when one is fresh. Sirsasana should always be followed by Sarvangasana and a cycle. It has been observed that people who devote themselves to Sirsasana alone without doing the Sarvangasana poses are apt to lose their temper over trifling things and become irritated quickly. The practice of Sarvangasana coupled with Sirsasana checks this trait. If Sarvangasana is the mother, then Sirsasana may be regarded as the father of all asanas. And just as both parents are necessary for peace and harmony in a home, so the practice of both these asanas is essential to keep the body healthy and the mind tranquil and peaceful. The effects of Sirsasana. The ancient books have called Sirsasana the king of all asanas, and the reasons are not hard to find. When we are born, normally the head comes out first and then the limbs. The skull encases the brain, which controls the nervous system and the organs of sense. The brain is the seat of intelligence, knowledge, discrimination, wisdom, and power. It is the seat of Brahman, the soul. A country cannot prosper without a proper king or constitutional head to guide it, so as the human body cannot prosper without a healthy brain. The Bhagavad Gita says, harmony, sattva, mobility, rajas, inertia, tamas, are such the qualities, matter-born, they bind fast, O great armed one, Arjuna, the indestructible dweller in the body. 14th Discourse, verse 5. All these qualities stem from the brain, and sometimes one quality prevails, and sometimes the others. The head is the center of sattvic qualities, which control discrimination, the trunk of rajasic qualities, which control passion, emotion, and actions, and the region below the diaphragm of tamasic qualities, which control sensual pleasures like the enjoyment of food and drink and the thrills and pleasures of sex. Regular practice of Sirsasana makes healthy, pure blood flow through the brain cells. This rejuvenates them so that thinking power increases and thoughts become clearer. The asana is a tonic for people whose brains tire quickly. It ensures a proper blood supply to the pituitary and pineal glands in the brain. Our growth, health, and vitality depend on the proper functioning of these two glands. People suffering from loss of sleep, memory, and vitality have recovered by regular and correct practice of this asana and have become fountains of energy. The lungs gain the power to resist any climate and stand up to any work, which relieves one from colds, coughs, tonsillitis, halitosis, and palpitations. It keeps the body warm. Coupled with Sarvangasana movements, it is a boon to people suffering from constipation. Regular practice of Sirsasana will show marked improvement in the hemoglobin content of the blood. It is not advisable to start with Sirsasana and Sarvangasana when one suffers from high or low blood pressure. Regular and precise practice of Sirsasana develops the body, disciplines the mind, and widens the horizons of the spirit. One becomes balanced and self-reliant in pain and pleasure, loss and shame, fame and defeat, and victory. We shall now practice the shoulder stand, bringing the legs up, pushing the palms of the hands into the floor, and then raising the palms to the lower back as the chest comes towards the chin. Don't bring the chin towards the chest, but push the chest forward using the hands into the chin and rooting down through the elbows to give you more force to push the torso in towards the chin. And then try to keep the legs stiff and the toes pointing and making the whole body perpendicular to the floor. There should be rhythmic breathing through the nose because the mouth is kept closed with the chest pushed up against it. The breathing through the nose can be checked in the expansion and contraction of the abdomen. As you can see in the video, my abdomen blows up like a balloon and then deflates with each breathing cycle. After remaining in the shoulder stand for quite a while, the legs are kept straight as they are lowered behind the head, with the toes lowering down onto the floor, and then the hands are slowly taken off the ribs and interlaced and pushed down into the floor to help give some more lift up from the upper back to push the chest even more into the chin, and the heels express backwards so that there is a full stretch along the entire spine and legs, all the way from the heels up through the hamstrings and into the lower back and upper back. Then after that, I shall be lowering down into ear pressure pose by bending the knees and bringing the knees in towards the head, framing the ears and pushing into the ears. Then the feet can even be lifted off the floor so that there's even more weight placed in the knees and there is more pressure on the ears. This allows for greater silence so that the attention can be turned inward, because there is darkness, because the eyes are shrouded by the legs, and the knees against the ears mean that you can hear more of your own breathing and more of the blood flow throughout your body and less of the outside world. So it's quite meditative. But now I shall speed up the video to go through that cycle, and then ending in a corpse pose, breathing deeply through the nose to integrate the healing effects of these inversions in the body. I shall now read from Light on Yoga the effects of Sarvang Asana. The importance of Sarvang Asana cannot be overemphasized. It is one of the greatest boons conferred on humanity by our ancient sages. Sarvang Asana is the mother of asanas. As a mother strives for harmony and happiness in the home, so this asana strives for the harmony and happiness of the human system. It is a panacea for most common ailments. There are several endocrine organs or ductless glands in the human system which bathe in blood, absorb the nutriments from the blood, and secrete hormones for the proper functioning of a balanced and well-developed body and brain. If the glands fail to function properly, the hormones are not produced as they should be, and the body starts to deteriorate. Amazingly enough, many of the asanas have a direct effect on the glands and help them to function properly. Sarvang Asana does this for the thyroid and parathyroid glands, which are situated in the neck region, since due to the firm chin lock, their blood supply is increased. Further, since the body is inverted, the venous blood flows to the heart without any strain by force of gravity. Healthy blood is allowed to circulate around the neck and chest. As a result, persons suffering from breathlessness, palpitation, asthma, bronchitis, and throat ailments get relief. As the head remains firm in this inverted position, and the supply of blood to it is regulated by the firm chin lock, the nerves are soothed, and headaches, even chronic ones, disappear. Continued practice of this asana eradicates common colds and other nasal disturbances. Due to the soothing effect of the pose on the nerves, those suffering from hypertension, irritation, shortness of temper, nervous breakdown, and insomnia are relieved. The change in bodily gravity also affects the abdominal organs so that the bowels move freely and constipation vanishes. As a result, the system is freed from toxins and one feels full of energy. This asana is recommended for urinary disorders and uterine displacement, menstrual trouble, piles, and hernia. It also helps to relieve epilepsy, low vitality, and anemia. It is no overstatement to say that if a person regularly practices Sarvang Asana, he will feel new vigor and strength and will be happy and confident. New life will flow into him, his mind will be at peace, and he will feel the joy of life. After a long illness, the practice of this asana regularly, twice a day, brings back lost vitality. The Sarvang Asana cycle activates the abdominal organs and relieves people suffering from stomach and intestinal ulcers, severe pains in the abdomen, and colitis.